are talking tonight about the Weather Underground Manifesto written in 1969 by these guys. This is Bill Ayers, this is Bernadine Dorn, his wife, and this is Jeff Jones. They all are in and around the president. She has been working on the Gaza flotilla. He's been working on the stimulus package here in New York and showing how they can spend it in government. And he is, of course, working on education. Their goal back in 1969 was kill the capitalist system and install world socialism. I contend if you read this, America, you see exactly what they're doing. Tonight we're going over it, and then we're going over it again tomorrow, the second half of it. It is frightening, frightening stuff. We stopped at, there's no property rights. Because the ignorant masses, you know, the bigots or the stupid, they like the free market. They have some stuff. And what the ignorant masses don't understand, by the way, that's you. You're clinging to your silly traditions and your God and your guns. The truth is, your wealth really isn't your wealth. In the truly progressive society, in this society that they wanted, wealth belongs to the world. Quote, the relative affluence existing in the United States is directly dependent upon the labor and the natural resources of the Vietnamese, remember this was written in the 1960s, the Angolans and the Bolivians, and the rest of the peoples of the third world. All the United States the United Airlines, Astrojets, all of the Holiday Inns, all of the Hertz automobiles, your television set, your car, your wardrobe, already belong to a large degree to the peoples of the rest of the world. Now, when I first read this, I thought, boy, where have I seen this before? And then it dawned on me, George Soros funded the Tides Foundation, which funded the story of stuff, which is now shown most likely in your child's school. Watch.
Then along came the corporation. Now, the reason the corporation looks bigger than the government is that the corporation is bigger than the government. Of the 100 largest economies on Earth now, 51 are corporations. And as the corporation has grown in size and power, we've seen a little change in the government where they're a little more concerned in making sure everything's working out for those guys than for us.
If you're familiar with this, we've played this before, it shows how we've gone and raped the rest of the world. And so our stuff isn't ours. Yes, it is all of this capitalistic greed that is causing all of the problems on the entire planet. It is our system, and it is set up to make sure that it stays that way. And the Weather Underground talk about it's going to stay that way by force. They complained about the police. You remember, if you're my age, you remember in the 60s, people used to call the police, not people that I knew, but hippies used to call the police pigs. Well, apparently, the pigs had the audacity to believe that people have a right to own their own property. Weather Underground, quote, even when there is no organized political struggle, the pigs come down on people in everyday life in enforcing capitalist property relations. They guard stores and factories and the rich and enforce credit and rent against the poor. Can you believe this? The pigs actually believe that you should pay rent. Well, that hardly seems fair, especially with all of those predatory lenders out there. See, here's the problem. Pigs will enforce the property rights. So what do? What do they suggest? Well, redefine crime. There's a great way. Redefine the crime. So you're squatting in a house that you're not paying your rent for, you're not paying your mortgage for. Well, maybe it's because of, maybe you're not the problem. Maybe it is the bank, the predatory lender. Maybe they're the problem. Maybe that's what it is. But a clearer example of this, of what they suggested, is what Acorn is doing. Take it. Acorn now is house squatting.
This is our house now.
There they are. They're going in. I don't know why I only have that piece, but this is Acorn going in on a house that has been foreclosed, and they are just taking it. Well, when you see the world as a place that property isn't owned by the individual, but instead the collective, and really the rest of the world, it makes sense to see redistribution of wealth as the only response to virtually every single problem. Weather Underground. It is the oppressed peoples of the world. Gee, where did we hear the oppressed again? Oh, yeah, that's right, from Jeremiah Wright. The oppressed peoples of the world who have created the wealth of this empire, and it is to them that it belongs. The goal of the revolutionary struggle must be the control and use of this wealth in the interest of the oppressed peoples of the world. Well, have they reached that goal of controlling the wealth? I showed you at the top of the show the financial regulation bill that is passed, is now law. We found out at Fox today that, you know, there's a little sticky thing. They can shut you down now. They can shut you down if you're a threat to the government. We've talked at length about the financial regulation bill, but now you can't even question them. Freedom of Information Act? Nope. Now, let's not forget that Van Jones expressed this: taking the wealth and giving it to the oppressed people, when he spoke about Native Americans.
No more broken treaties. No more broken treaties. Give them the wealth. Give them the wealth.
I think ultimately the rate of growth of material consumption is going to have to come down, and there's going to have to be a degree of redistribution of how much we consume in terms of energy and material resources in order to leave room for people who are poor to become more prosperous.
Okay, remember, they're talking about taking your money from the United States of America, even the poorest among us, and giving it to another country, another part of the world. I don't have to tell you that the policies we're pursuing all seem to be magically aimed at these redistributive goals, do I?
Excellent health care is, by definition, redistributional.
Okay. To complete this change, you have to have an enemy. Oh, you must have an enemy. Who is that enemy, according to the Weather Underground? It's well, I'll show it to you next.